Hi, this is Belinda with Home Gardens to Go, teaching you more about square foot gardening. We had a question from Amelia in Arizona, and she wondered how she could protect her garden from her cat and also from the extreme heat down there in Arizona. So we're going to talk about that today. So the first option is this PVC tent made from PVC pipe, and they come in 8-foot lengths, and so those work just fine. You won't even need to cut it. To take from one corner to the next, opposite corners, you just put a piece of rebar down right near the corner of your box, just hammer it in like this, and then this will fit right over it like that. And so it's a really simple way to protect your garden. And let's say we want to protect from the heat. We tie it here in the middle to keep it in place. And in Arizona, they've got the heat, a lot of heat. So we just take a shade cloth and we can just drape it over this in the heat of the day, and your plants are going to be really taken care of and protected from that heat. And then later in the evening you can pull that off again, or if it's in the middle of the summer you might want to leave it on quite a bit. So that's something we can do in the heat. If you've got a problem with birds, you can put a bird netting over this. In the fall, if you live where there might be a frost, and let's say you don't want to lose your tomatoes yet, you can actually put just a light blanket over this, and just at night to protect it from that frost. And you're going to extend the life of your tomatoes. You're going to extend your growing season. And then one other thing we can do with this covering is we can just use a simple plastic. We can use, I would get a 6 mil thickness of plastic and just drape that over that. And that I would use in the early spring when you want to have a greenhouse effect and when you want your plants to get a head start growing a little more robustly. So when you cover your garden with something, you're going to actually change the temperature inside that covering, and it's going to be, you know, quite a bit warmer, or it can be cooler depending on your need at that time. So this is a real simple type of covering you can make to protect your garden. Now there's another something that we call a critter cage that you can build, and Mel teaches you about it in the book. He teaches you about how to make a critter cage. You can just make a simple wood frame that fits the size of your box, and then you cover it with chicken wire. And that's what we call a critter cage, and that actually keeps out your cat. That'll keep out deer. It'll keep out other pests, dogs. Some dogs like to dig in the garden. But another thing too to protect from pests is when you first lay out your garden and you're just putting out your weed cloth, just beginning, you could also lay chicken wire underneath that weed cloth, and that will keep moles and gophers from coming up inside your box. So if you have a problem like that where you live, that's something you can do too. Now at Home Gardens to Go, we also offer another type of protection, and we call it the critter cage. But this is something that it just makes it a lot easier because it just comes in the mail all ready to put together. So I just wanted to show you how easy this is to put together. It really just snaps together. You can use a rubber mallet to just make sure everything is secure as you snap them together. Just PVC. So this is your frame, and it's actually going to fit right over your 4x4 box. It's very lightweight, so it's very easy to pull off. We've got an especially warm day. So I'll just snap this together. Now this is the covering that we have for our critter cage, and this is a really great type of material. It's called microclimate, and this actually lets your garden breathe. I mean, it lets the air in. It also lets moisture in, but yet it's fantastic. It keeps out the bugs, keeps out the moss, and it'll keep out your cat, your dog. And it just fits over really neatly. But another thing this will do is this can act also as a greenhouse, because this will warm up inside by several degrees, and then it also can act as a shade. I want to just show you how I can easily lift this. Just lifts right up like that. And I want to put it on the garden. Okay, so this just sets right over our 4x4. And look how nice that is to protect. We've got clamps that can go down here on the bottom that'll actually clamp that right in. Keep that secure. And that's our critter cage with the microclimate mesh covering.